everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm super excited to share with all of you a full face of Sephora bestsellers. So that's what I have on today. And so we're going to go through the Sephora makeup bestsellers page, and I'm going to share with you guys my thoughts about all the products there. And then I'll pull out the products that I do have in my collection and do more of a deep dive showcasing a bunch of those products. I was inspired to do today's video because of the upcoming Sephora VIB sale, which I am always very excited about. It's a biannual sale and the whole store is on sale from 10 to 20% off depending on your level of membership in their Beauty Insiders program. And for me, because I am a big makeup collector, I always like to think about what products I want to buy during the sale. And so I've definitely been looking at the bestsellers page a lot. To be honest, this year I'm actually not planning on picking up that much because I feel like I just have so much makeup already, and I'm trying this year to be much more intentional and mindful with my makeup spending habits. And so instead of kind of doing a full makeup recommendations video, wish list, that sort of thing, I thought instead it would be fun to mostly focus on giving you guys reviews based on what I already have in my collection. So if you guys are interested in learning more, then just stick around. But I have here the Sephora page on their makeup bestsellers. I went into incognito mode because I realized that depending on where I was looking at this page, it was different, and it was very different on my phone, when I was logged in, not logged in. It could just be that there's a lot of randomness in this, but I figured going into incognito mode was probably my best bet for getting something that is really like the bestsellers and not just targeted advertising. So let's take a look at this. So definitely this page is influenced by what is the latest and greatest products, because this lip oil just came out. So I'm not sure how often this gets updated. Maybe it's like the bestsellers of the day or the week. But I was actually really close to putting this lip oil in my cart yesterday, but then I decided not to because I watched some reviews and realized it's probably pretty similar to my Laka lip tint. It's that kind of K-beauty style of tint, which I don't actually like that much because it's not that hydrating on your lips after the initial gloss wears out. So I don't know, I'll probably pass on this, but let me know if you have any experiences with this product. So I do have the soft pinch blush, so I will be using that in today's look. I do not have the professional. Pore minimizing is not a big concern of mine, so I haven't ever tried this product. I am very intrigued by this bronzer. I've tried buying it actually a few times, so every time the shade I was looking for was sold out. Now I feel like it's sort of old news, so let me know if you guys would actually be interested in this, because I don't want to pick it up if no one's interested, but yeah, I'm still a little bit intrigued myself. Same thing with this highlighter. I was thinking about it for the longest time, but ended up passing on it because I think it's a little bit brighter than what I normally like to go with. I do actually have her liquid highlighter though, and I do not like this, but I will include this in today's video just to give you guys a review. Have not tried these two products, not particularly interested in those. I do have this product, so I will be featuring this. Have not tried the brow product. It's interesting just how pretty much all of the rare beauty products are on this list, and I don't know if this is part of the Selena Gomez, Hailey Bieber controversy right now, but whatever it is, like, good for her, Selena Gomez. She's getting a lot of sales. And then I actually don't have the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in my collection. Surprise, surprise. Every time I've tried it in store, it just sinks into my lines way too much, and that includes when sales associates have applied it. So I haven't been that intrigued by it, even though I know this is like a cult bestseller. And then I haven't tried this concealer, but I saw kind of mixed reviews about it in terms of whether it actually works that well, so I'm not going to be picking up this. Same thing with the tinted moisturizer, kind of mixed reviews. I do have this product and will be featuring this today. Do not have her concealer, and then don't have either of these products. I do have the Brow Wiz, so I'll feature that. And then I don't have her glossy lip balm. Going right along, so I don't have the Kosas concealer. This was also one that I was watching for a while, but decided not to get. I think it has caffeine in it, and I'm actually quite sensitive to caffeine, so that for me was a turnoff. The Dior lip oil is one I'm actually really considering picking up in the VIB sale. I feel like there's just been so many products coming out trying to dupe this. That's made me really curious about how the original is. And then I'm really glad that Glossier is now at Sephora, but I think I'm kind of past my phase using their products. There was a period when I had pretty much every single product from them, and that was kind of when I was younger and newer to makeup. Nowadays, it just doesn't really appeal to me, though I do really like their concealer still. Do not have this foundation or this mascara, I think. I'll have to double check. I don't think I have this. I do have one shade of Rihanna's Fenty Gloss Heat, so I will include that in today's video. Have not tried these liquid lipsticks. As you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of liquid lipsticks in general. I do have this product. I haven't used it in the longest time. I'll break it out for today's video, but yeah, probably technically expired at this point. And I do have this setting spray, although the spray function doesn't work super well. It's like always kind of clogged, but I will use it for today's video. And I don't have either of these products. I do have one of Merit's blushes, and so I'll try that on for you guys today. It's not really my favorite formula. This is a new product, and I haven't tried this. I saw Morgan Turner's review yesterday on this, and it wasn't the most flattering review, so I think I'll pass on this. And I don't have this product, but I have tried it many times. I've gotten several of the larger sample sizes and also gotten samples from Sephora. And I would say I understand why this is such a cult favorite. It's a really good foundation if you have dry skin like myself. I will say though, it's not my favorite foundation, which is why I haven't picked it up in the full size. I find that it kind of sits on top of your skin, and so if you touch your skin at all during the day, it kind of moves around, which for me, I prefer foundation that kind of settles in and doesn't really budge after a while. And for me, even after I powder, I find that to be an issue with this foundation, so just not my favorite. And then I do have the Fenty Gloss Bomb, so I will include that in today's video. I don't have either of these products, but I do have the Hollywood Flawless Filter, so I will include that. And I have a really, really old container of Boy Brow, so we'll see if there's any product left in there. If so, I'll use that today. I do like Boy Brow, though, and would recommend it. Have not tried either of these. I do have this from Patrick Ta, so I'll include that. And I do have a Glossier Cloud Paint, so I'll try to dig that up and use that today as well, or at least give you guys a swatch. In general, I'm not really sure how I'm going to do today's look because I feel like there's a lot of kind of duplication, especially a lot of blushes, so some of these might just have to be swatches. And then I do have this exact set, so I don't actually think I've opened it, so I'll break it out for you guys today. And then I do have Huda Beauty's powder, so we can use that. I also have Charlotte's powder, so maybe we'll use both of these. And I don't have this mascara or this mascara. I do have the Double Wear foundation. This is actually one of my favorites. So I'm not sure if I'll use it today because I have used this in recent videos, including my BK Beauty video. So if you guys want to see me wear it, you can check it out there. Have not used this. I do think I've tried this before, but I don't have it anymore. It was just fine, nothing really outstanding to me. I do have one of these. I'm actually not much of a fan, but I'll include it in today's video. Of course, I do have a Beautyblender, so I'll break that out as well. Do not have either of these. I do have some of her lip cheats, so I can show those to you guys. And again, I do have the setting spray. The lip cheat is definitely one of my favorite formulas and would highly recommend. So I have a deluxe sample of the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I've used this a lot and really enjoy this formula. And I don't know why this one is in makeup, but I do actually like this sunscreen as well. I have the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder, but it's a little bit too drying for me, so I'm not a huge fan of it. I have a few of these in the mini size. And then we already talked about the Kosas concealer. Don't have either of these. I do actually have this foundation. I've never worn it on camera for you guys because I bought this back in like 2018 or earlier. I think it was actually my first foundation from Sephora. So I still have it in my collection, but I don't actually know if it works. So let's break it out today. And then don't have this. I do actually have a mini of this. Don't have this or this. I feel like everyone has talked about this foundation, but yeah, it doesn't sound like the best formula for me personally. Don't have this. In general, I'm not actually a huge fan of the Patrick Ta cream powder duos, and so I have the blush, but I didn't really feel a need to pick up the bronzer. And I do have her Pinkgasm Beauty Light Wand, so I'll take that out today. Don't have either of these. Do have this in Peach Pop, so I can take that out. I used to have this, but I don't think I have it anymore. Don't have either of these. I do have a Shiseido lash curler. As you guys know, I pretty much never wear mascara, but I'll break that out for you guys today. And I feel like we already have enough stuff, but let me just quickly go through the rest. So I do have this, so I can bring that out. Don't have these, though this is on my wish list. Let me know if you guys like this or the lip oil from Dior better, because I have both of them on my wish list, but don't really want to spend $80 on like lightly pigmented Dior lip products. So please let me know. And more of the setting powder, do have that. Oh, I do have this as well. I really like Tower 28's glosses. Don't have these or these. I tried a mini of this and I actually really enjoyed the sample that I got of this. And I think actually it was one of you who first recommended this to me. In general, I'm not someone who uses primer very much, but of the primers I've tried, this one actually did really well. Don't have this, do have this, and will include this in today's video. Don't have any of these. This is definitely something I'm going to pick up in the Sephora VIB sale, so very excited about that. I resisted for the longest time because I have way too many blushes, but I feel like every single new blush that's on the market that is vaguely a cool toned pink, people have been comparing to this pink, and so I just really want to try it for myself and see what all the hype is about. And then let's see, yeah, I haven't tried any of these. Have tried this several times, do really love this. If I didn't have so many foundations already in my collection, I would definitely buy this. And then haven't tried these. This is also on my wish list right now, and very likely I will pick it up in this upcoming sale. Let me know if you guys have thoughts. It's very pricey and I really don't need more highlighter, but I feel like this is one of those products that, at least based on the reviews I've seen, has really stood the test of time. Like, it's still a lot of people's favorite highlighter, so I'm very intrigued. Then moving on right along, so this is actually the first eyeshadow palette on this list, and I don't have this, but I do have the Viseart Neutral Mattes palette, so maybe I'll use that for today's look, because of course I do need to have something on my eyes. But yeah, I don't have these other products. I have been intrigued actually by the skin tint from Rihanna because I've heard really great things, but generally I'm not actually a huge skin tint person. And I have this foundation as well. Actually, I'm kind of surprised to see this on the list. It's sort of an old foundation with a pretty bad shade range, but I like the formula. It's pretty good. I can vouch for this. And then I don't have the lipstick. I do have the Hoola bronzer, so we can break that out today. Don't have this foundation or any of these products. And let's see, I'm really intrigued by this product. This is one of the few Merit products I haven't tried, and it has gotten great reviews, but I don't know, I'm still kind of coming around to cream bronzers. I still, on a daily basis, just prefer powder, and so given that these products expire, I've been trying to not pick up too many of them, but this one and the Rare Beauty have definitely been on my wish list. And then don't have these, but I was actually very tempted to pick this up after seeing Morgan Turner's review of it, because I have very straight downward pointing lashes, and I've heard really good things about this mascara, but in general I'm not really a mascara person, so that's why I haven't picked it up. Tried this before, it was all right, not super outstanding. Tried this before actually many times as well. Don't like it as much as my M Cosmetics eyeliner. Haven't tried these. Have had this blush on my wish list for the longest time, but I don't know if I'll actually pick it up. It's quite pricey for one shade, and I do have kind of too many blushes at the moment. Haven't tried any of these other products. I do have the dip brow in the tube rather than in the pot. And I've been very intrigued by this Clarins lip oil as well. I only want to buy one of these between this and the Dior. So if you guys have tried those, please let me know which one you like better. And then haven't tried these, though I have been very tempted to pick this up in the shade Spicy. That looks really pretty. Absolutely love this powder. Love this mist. This is one of my favorite facial mists. I do have the Brow Freeze. Don't like it. Haven't really figured out a way to use it that doesn't end up picking up foundation or just looking really gross. So please let me know if you have tips on that. Been intrigued by this, but I don't really have anything from IT Cosmetics. And so, yeah, I haven't really been super moved to pick it up. Okay, we need to cut this off at some point. So I'm going to say now, when we get to the end of the screen, I'm going to stop because I think we have a full face already. But it is fun to just keep going. Okay, so none of these are in my collection, though I did try this concealer. Absolutely hated it, would not recommend. Super thick and cakey. Oh, actually, I do have this. Okay, so I can bring this into today's look. I do like the KVD liquid eyeliner. It's not my favorite, but it is really solid. And then, yeah, none of these. And I do have a small version of the HD Skin Foundation. This I don't like as much as the original Ultra HD, which I have a full size of. The new one is just a little bit too drying for me, so I'm not a fan. I did try a sample of this, and I didn't like it that much. I thought it was really good for kind of around the face concealing, but not that great in the under eye area. In general, it reminds me a lot of a foundation that's just kind of a very high coverage foundation instead of a concealer. And then I do have a mini of this in like just the champagne version. I never really use it. I think if it was more of a, kind of one and done color, maybe I would use it more, but yeah, not the biggest fan. But all right, so that's the top 160 products on Sephora, according to my browser today at least. So let's go off those, and I think I have enough products to put together a full look. So let me grab those products and let's get into today's look. So I pulled out a ton of makeup products, so let's go ahead and start running through these. So looking around, I think we should first just start off with some lip balm. So here is the Summer Fridays lip balm. I would highly recommend this. I love using this to prep the lips. This shade over here, Vanilla Beige, has a really nice kind of brownish undertone to it. This is a really great way to start off any makeup look, just to hydrate your lips. It's also a really lovely shade just on an everyday basis. And I really like the applicator for this. It's really nice and cushiony, really hugs the lips. Now, in terms of foundation, so there's a lot of options today. Let me quickly just talk through the two I'm not going to use. So we have the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Foundation. I have used this for you guys several times recently. If you check out any of my recent Charlotte Tilbury videos, I do tend to feature this. It is one of my favorite long wear foundations. The shade I have, 7 Warm, is too deep and too warm for me, so that's the one thing I don't like about this, but it is a very solid formulation. I also do really love the Double Wear Foundation. I have this in 2W1 Dawn. This is a much better shade match for me, and this is my go-to on days when I want really, really high coverage, long-lasting foundation. This is a really tried and true product. So for today's look, I'm going to use foundations that are probably expired / definitely expired. Both of these are probably around 5 years old. So yeah, wish me luck. I really hope this doesn't break me out. But because I don't know when else I'm ever going to use these again, I thought today's video was a good opportunity. So this is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Long Wear Foundation. Let me give you guys a swatch of this. Ooh, oh my gosh, this is... wow, the product was so dried up and caked up, it kind of exploded when I pushed it out. Ugh, gosh, all right, well, we'll see how this goes. So here is the product. You can see it's a very thick consistency. It's kind of the opposite of the other product, which is the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint. I have this in shade ST9 Paloma. So this comes in a dropper format. You can see this is very liquidy in comparison to the Fenty, just kind of drips down. And so I guess I'll just do one on each side. At first I was going to mix them together, but in case you guys actually care about what these formulas look like, it's probably better to do them on separate sides because they are so different. So the Fenty is going to go on the right hand side over here and the Ilia on the left hand side. And hopefully it doesn't look too crazy to have these two different formulas. Whew, wow, that is dripping so much. I forgot how liquidy this product is. Wow. And I'm just going to go in with my Beautyblender. First going to go in on the lighter coverage side. So you can see this definitely gives you a very glowy finish. So what I never really liked about this product is I feel like the coverage is extremely minimal, but you just get so much glow that unless you're like extremely dry, I feel like this is going to be a little bit on the glowy side for you. For me, I do have dry skin, but I still find that this is just like too kind of greasy looking for me if I don't set it down. So here we have the Ilia. As you can see, not much coverage. I guess it's good that I put it on the side where I have fewer blemishes, so this side can do with a bit more coverage. I'm going to use the butt of my Beautyblender on this side. I will say both of these shades are surprisingly looking pretty good for me considering how old both of these products are. And this is definitely a true soft matte foundation, as its name implies. As you can see, it just blends in very easily and leaves a very matte finish. So here you can see the two different sides. They do look very different. Here's the Fenty and here is the Ilia. So next let's go into brows. So I have a few products. First off, the ABH Clear Brow Gel. This doesn't really do much for me, so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of show you guys what it looks like. So here it is on this side and here it is without on this side. And as you can see, at least on my eyebrows, I don't really feel like there's much of a difference. Yeah, maybe this side just looks a little bit more set, whereas, yeah, okay, now we have on both sides, and I don't really think it really did much. It kind of just makes my brows feel wet, but I feel like it doesn't really affect the shape that much. So I can't say that I recommend that product that much. I do like the Brow Wiz though. I have this in the shade Granite, which in hindsight, I think it would have been better to get it in one of the brown shades. Granite is just a little bit ashy on me. Hopefully you guys can see that swatch. It's a nice formulation though. It's light enough in terms of pigmentation that it's pretty mistake proof. I do on most days find myself gravitating more so to my Huda Beauty or M Cosmetics brow pencils. But this one is definitely a good staple product still. I feel like this was the product that really launched ABH as a brand and got people really excited about doing more like Instagram brows. So since then there's been a lot more competition, but it's still a very solid brow pencil. All right, so there we have the brow pencil on. And then finally we have the Glossier Boy Brow. Like I said, this is very old. I think this is probably also like 5 years old, so I don't really know if there's going to be much product on it, but let's try. Pretty dry, but I think there's a tiny bit of product coming off. So I don't know if you guys can see any difference between this side with the boy brow versus the side without. But this is a really nice, very easygoing everyday brow gel. I feel like this was one of my first brow gels that I tried when I was first getting into makeup, and it is very beginner friendly because it's not that pigmented. It has like more of a fluffing ability rather than like a hold, and so I think that's much more easy to work with if you're kind of new to makeup. So moving on to powder, we have two powders, the Huda Beauty and the Kosas. So my Kosas powder is almost completely worn out. As you guys can see here, I have used almost all of it, but that's okay. I will still use some for today's look. I do kind of wish I had a concealer for today's look. I feel like my under eye area could really use some help. Let me actually just take a tiny bit of that Estee Lauder Double Wear. I really wish mine had a pump. I bought this at the cosmetic company store, so it unfortunately came without a pump. But let me try to just take a tiny bit of that. Okay, that was more than I intended, but I'm gonna just go in with my Beautyblender, take some of that, scoop it up, and then pat that into the eye area. And I guess I'll just also use this as eye primer today because I didn't have an eye primer on that list. But normally I would like going in with my ABH eye primer or my Urban Decay or Too Faced eye primers. Okay, I think that's working pretty well. So this foundation is definitely not as high coverage as a concealer, but it is very high coverage still. So I think it did a good job of covering up my blemishes there. I'll put whatever left just kind of on the other places where I would normally go in with a bit more coverage. Alright, so for powder, I'm going to go in first with the Kosas side on my reference number 18. And I think to try to even out my face, I'm going to actually put this on the Fenty side because the Fenty is already a bit more matte than the Ilia side. And the Huda is, I would say, a lot more mattifying. And hopefully you can see a little bit of that difference. I really love this Kosas powder because I find that with a lot of powders, it's really easy for me to go overboard. I do have dry skin, and so I try not to put too much powder on. But for the Kosas one, between the baked formula and also just how lightweight the powder is, I find that even if I do layer upon layer, it never looks dry or cakey. And I think you can see it looks really nice on top of that Fenty. Now for the other side, I'm going in with the Huda. And this one being a loose powder is a little bit more finicky to work with. But I'm gonna just take a little bit of that and pat it on over here. I do like this powder in that it is definitely very good at setting your face. It really, I think it's designed for baking and can do that quite well. The only thing I don't like about this is it's extremely perfumed. It smells just really, really intense whenever I open this. And I don't mind some fragrance in makeup, but this is just really, really, really intense. But there you go. You can see on top of that super dewy Ilia serum foundation, it just helped set things down a little bit without completely removing the dewiness. Alright, so now we have a lot of cheek products. So I don't think I'm going to be able to put all of these on my face today, but let's go ahead and talk through them. So first for bronzer, we have two options here. We have the Charlotte and we have the Hoola. So at least I do think I can put both of these on. Hindsight, I probably should have done this before powdering, but oh well, we'll see. So here I have her contour wand in the shade Fair Medium. This is a pretty pigmented product, only a little bit is needed. So the way I like to apply this is just to put a couple dots around my face and then go in with my BK Beauty 107 brush to buff it out. And again, it is better to do this before you set your foundation because I do find if you put this on already set foundation or you use it with a foundation that's very self-setting, it can be a tad bit patchy. So here we have the side with the contour and the side without. You can see it is a nice cool tone shade, so it's going to contour instead of bronze. And let's just do the same thing on this side. And always make sure after you use this to turn it off and put the lid back on so you don't have any accidents with this product. Just gonna pat that in. Ooh. Okay, definitely on this side, I feel like it's blending in more seamlessly because it's on top of that very hydrating foundation instead of a matte one. That just blended in like a dream. So to give that just a second to settle down, let's actually change up my lip for a moment and talk about some more of these lip products. So I'm taking off that Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm. And the next formula I wanted to chat about was the Tower 28 ones. So I really love these glosses. I haven't actually used them recently because they've been buried in my makeup drawer. But this one over here is Cashew. It's a really great everyday shade. And what I love about these is there's really no formula on the market that I've tried that's just quite so hydrating and slippy on the lips. For example, I really love my Pat McGrath lip glosses, but they do have a little bit of stickiness to them. This is just completely non-sticky, and you can see it has a really beautiful high shine finish. There's not much pigmentation to this at all, so I have actually a bunch of different shades of this, but it doesn't make that big of a difference on the lips. But it's really gorgeous for an everyday kind of no makeup look. It mostly just makes your lips look kind of like your lips but better. And speaking of Tower 28, I also wanted to quickly just talk about their cream blushes so it didn't come up earlier when we were going through the bestsellers list, but after I stopped filming, I actually went and saw the remaining 40 items on that list, and that included these, and I really love these. I actually like these a lot better than some of the other cream blushes we're going to talk about today, so that's why I did want to quickly give them a shout out. They're really affordable, only $20, but one of the best cream blushes I've ever tried because they're just very easy to work with. So some cream blushes I think are just a little bit too liquidy and finicky, whereas these just blend in like a dream. They kind of have that ease of use that you get with powder, but the beautiful creamy effect that you get with creams and liquids. So I would highly, highly recommend these if you haven't tried them out. So with that, hopefully it's dried down enough on my cheeks for us to go in with this Hoola bronzer. So I'm gonna try going in with my Refer number 24 brush. Just gonna kind of stamp that in. So Hoola, I wouldn't say is my favorite bronzer by any means, but it is a very solid bronzer. It's a little bit neutral leaning, so it's really great for kind of a bronzer effect. And I actually primarily enjoy using this as a nose contour because of its neutralness. And yeah, it's not necessarily blending the best on top of that liquid. Ugh. Yeah, actually not really liking how this cheek is looking, but that's okay. Hopefully we can fix it once we get to the blush portion. Let's see how it applies on this side. I feel like it's always kind of risky when you go in with powder right on top of creams and liquids. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, it looks definitely a lot better on this side. Alrighty, so now we have a ton of different blushes to try out. So I feel like cream and liquid blushes have definitely been having a moment, just considering how many of them are now on my desk. So we have these two wands from Charlotte. So I'm not going to do these today because I do have very recent videos with both of these. So definitely check out my video featuring this where I also featured this. But I do like both of these. I think they are pretty pricey for what you get, but they leave a really beautiful finish to the skin, are quite easy to use. And so from that standpoint, I would recommend them if you've been looking into them. One thing I will note is the highlighter ones can be kind of more of like a blush light, and so this one, Pinkgasm, is definitely too pigmented on my skin to be used as just a highlighter, but it's also not super deep as a blush, and so I find that when I use this, I do like pairing it with a more pigmented blush as well. And I do actually have a video comparison of this and the Danessa Myricks Blurring Balm Powder Blush, which has also been really viral recently. And I will say I actually prefer the Danessa Myricks to this, so even though I would recommend this, that one is, I think, a better deal. Next, we have the Rare Beauty blushes. This has also been super viral, and I have used these in recent videos as well. So I used this in my BK Beauty video recently, so definitely check that out if you are interested. I do like these formulas. They're not my all-time favorite liquid blush formulas, I would say, but they are really nice. And in particular, I would say if you want to use these blushes and you're having any issues, definitely check out the BK Beauty 109 brush. I didn't really like these until I got this brush. This brush just makes such a big difference in blending out this highly pigmented formula. With this brush, I feel like these are super easy to use, but with other brushes, I find them a lot more finicky. Next, we have Cloud Paint. So I don't really like this, unfortunately. This has been kind of on the declutter block for the longest time. It is very pigmented. You only need a little bit of it. But I do find that this kind of breaks me out. So I'm not going to put it on my face today, but you can just see there kind of the level of pigmentation. And I just find it a little bit finicky to use. It's supposed to be super easy, just kind of blot it with your hands, but in my experience, it's not actually that easy to use. Next up, we have the Merit blush, and as I mentioned earlier, this is actually not my favorite product either because it's just very lightweight. So, you know, when I do that, you can see kind of a decent level of pigmentation, but it is just so hydrating that I find that it wears off super easily over the course of the day. And so it just doesn't leave that much. And because it is so emollient, it also tends to disturb my foundation or bronzer underneath. So yeah, unfortunately not my favorite product there. And then finally, I guess for today's look, I will showcase this blush because it's been a while since I've shown you guys this. This is the Patrick Ta She's So LA blush. So this is a combo cream and powder blush. If you guys are familiar with this, it's interesting in that you actually are supposed to first go in with the powder side and then the cream. So it's quite different from your typical blushes in that regard. And for me, I actually would say that I prefer the pure powder blushes from Patrick Ta, the monochrome moment ones. Those I really love. This formulation for me is kind of a like but not love. I find that the cream can sometimes disturb the product underneath, and so I don't always like going in with it. But for today, I'll show it to you guys. So here it is with just the powder on both sides. Pretty nice powder, actually. And I'm going to use the side of the sponge and pick up some of that and just kind of tap that in. So here we have it with both of the products, and here we have it with just the powder. So you can see that adding the cream definitely changes the finish. And overall, I think it looks good, but I don't know if you guys can see, but especially on this side where I used a more emollient foundation, I feel like it did pick up some of the product underneath. So I don't know. Now I'm just kind of going back in and trying to diffuse the edges, but yeah, not actually my favorite product. I do find it a little finicky. I feel like as I'm blending in the edges, the product is looking just a bit patchy. Whew, wow, there are so many products to run through. This was maybe not the best idea for a video, but let's keep trucking ahead. So I'm trying to make more of a dent in terms of all of these lip products. So let's take this gloss off now. My lips are going to be super hydrated after all this. So now I'm going to go in with just showing you guys this Tarte Maracuja Juicy lipstick because I don't think I've shown this to you guys on camera. I was really excited to get this in an Ipsy glam bag, but I don't actually like this product, but let's show it. So here it is on the lips. It's a bright pink color, has sort of a coconutty taste to it, and it actually looks fine now, especially on top of all of those lip glosses, but I find that it's not actually a very hydrating formula. So I know what's gone super viral is kind of like a different version of this. I think it's the balm version or the plumping version. This is just the lipstick version, so I can't speak to those other versions. But yeah, unfortunately not my favorite. It's fine, but in my whole lip collection, not really a product I reach for. So now for highlighter. So we have the Rare Beauty highlighter and the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. So this is not exactly a highlight. You can use this for all sorts of purposes, including using it to make your base more luminous or underpainting with it. This is more of your standard liquid highlighter. So I really love the Hollywood Flawless Filter, would highly recommend this. So if you have a matte base product that you want to make more luminous, this is an excellent product to do that. I also do like this as a very subtle highlight, which I will show you guys today. So the way I use it is I just paint a little bit on, and then going in with my BK Beauty 112 brush, I'm just going to sweep a little bit of that on the high points of my cheeks, on my nose. I think it leaves just like a really pretty subtle sheen to the face, and it dries down pretty well, so it's not going to leave things greasy at all. So hopefully you can see some of that additional luminosity that it left. Although in general my skin is looking pretty luminous with all of these layers of cream products. The Rare Beauty highlighter, unfortunately, I have not gotten along with. I don't know if it's just this shade, which is Outshine. This is a very, very yellowy shade, and I find that it's very overpowering. So you can see just from that swatch how pigmented it is. So even when I sheer it out, it's just very yellow. You can see a very strong yellow cast to it. And so I find whenever I put this on top of blushes, it just kind of makes them look very yellowy. So compare that with the Charlotte, which is a little bit more of a subtle sheen. You can see much more of the glitter particles in the Rare Beauty. And so it's just really not to my taste. I feel like this can look good maybe if you mix this with her blushes and make it into sort of a shimmery blush. I've seen a lot of people on TikTok do that, and I think that's a promising way to do it. But if you're just using it on top of a blush, like I did today with the Hollywood Flawless Filter, I've tried that many times and it doesn't look good. If you want to see that in action, I do feature that in my BK Beauty brush haul video. So because I don't have the Mario Master Mattes palette, I just went off screen with my Viseart Neutral Mattes palette to kind of whip together a very quick, easy, neutral look. I imagine this is probably pretty similar to what you would get with that palette. It was kind of interesting to me how there weren't any other eyeshadow palettes on this whole list of top 200 products at Sephora. I guess it makes sense that eyeshadow palettes are really varied, and so people just get different palettes, but it was still just kind of surprising to me because I love eyeshadow palettes. It's definitely the product I buy the most of, but I guess it's the neutral looks that win out at the end of the day. So now I'm going to go in with my KVD Tattoo Liner. This is a very nice, very consistent liner. It's kind of the first eyeliner I fell in love with, and so from that standpoint it definitely has a special place in my heart. I will admit that I don't really love it so much anymore, just because I do prefer some other eyeliners, particularly my M Cosmetics liner, but there's really nothing wrong with this liner. I still do really enjoy it and would definitely recommend it on the whole. And to be frank, I think that's true of a lot of products in this bestsellers list. I think most of them are pretty strong, consistent products, but just not really my favorite as my makeup collection has grown. I think over time you just get to know more about your own preferences that might be quite different from what most people like. So there we go, very simple, easy eyeliner look for today. So now we are in the home stretch. So I realized I don't actually have the Shiseido eyelash curler, but I do have this one from Shu Uemura. So I'm going to use that because I found I do actually have the Ilia Mascara. So even though I normally don't like doing mascara, I'll do it for today's look just to showcase that product for you guys. All right, so I did my best to curl my lashes. This is really as good as we're gonna get. So let's try to go in with this mascara now. Whew, wow. Look at that wand. It is very spiky. So I have used this before, and I would say that this mascara is very good for lengthening your lashes in a very natural way. I can't say I'm a mascara connoisseur as someone who doesn't really use mascara very much because I have, as you guys can tell, very skimpy lashes that really do not like to hold a curl. So I do find with most mascaras, this one included, it's not really able to fully hold my curl, and thus over the course of the day my lashes do kind of droop and the product ends up kind of smudging all over the place, which is why I normally just cut this out of my routine. But the effect when it's first applied is quite nice. All right, so I think that's the best that we're gonna be able to do. I know, can you guys even see my lashes? I feel like because they stick out so much, it's pretty hard to actually see them. So finishing things off, let's go in with my Charlotte products for the lips and then also some Fenty gloss on top. So I'm going to take off that Tarte Maracuja lipstick. And I thought that I had the Pillow Talk lip liner, but I guess I don't. I just have her Pillow Talk medium one. I also have Hot Gossip and Iconic Nude. So those are all really great colors that I would recommend as well. But for today, let's go in with this Pillow Talk medium since we're going to go in with her Pillow Talk lipstick. And Pillow Talk medium for me is a really great everyday shade because it's kind of just like my lip color. As you guys can see, it's like a little bit deeper maybe and just a little bit more pinky mauvey, but on the whole, it's quite similar. And I do really need to sharpen this. Wow, that was kind of prickly. So now let's go into this mini of Pillow Talk. Isn't this the cutest little baby lipstick that you have ever seen? Like, look how adorable this is. Here I go. So here's Pillow Talk on top of the Pillow Talk medium. As you can see, it's very pinky. On me, it comes across more like a cool toned pink and less like kind of an everyday nude shade. I think that's just because my skin tone is a little bit deeper and a little bit more yellowy in comparison to what was envisioned for this color. I think this looks like a really nice nude if you have more of a pink undertone skin, but still a lovely shade when paired with that lip liner. So now on top of that, I'm going to go in with my Fenty Gloss Balm in the shade Fenty Glow. This is a really lovely lip gloss formula, very thick and nourishing. The only thing I don't like about this one is the taste / smell is a little strong, at least when you first apply, but the formulation is really lovely. I can definitely understand why this one is a bestseller. I do also have this one in the heat version, so this will give you that kind of tingly sensation. And I have kind of a love-hate relationship with this one. On the one hand, I do sometimes get into a phase where I really like putting this on because of that kind of tingly sensation. I do feel like it kind of plumps up my lips a bit. But the flavor is even more intense with this one. It has a really strong kind of hot cherry taste. And so I'm not a big fan of that. So it's kind of overall kind of a mix for me. It's not one I reach for a lot, but when I get into a cycle of using this, I do like using it. And finally, to finish things off, we have these two setting sprays. And I realized I actually don't think I've really tried the all-nighter, so I guess today's the day. I will put this on and leave it in a pinned comment in terms of how it goes, but I have been using the Charlotte for a while and I do like this. I can't say I notice actually a huge difference with this because my makeup generally does wear pretty well, but it does seem to kind of help melt everything together and prevent creasing, which I do enjoy. The only thing I don't like about this is if you get this in the mini like I have, because as you can tell, I pretty much never use setting spray, this nozzle is not the best. It sometimes gets stuck such that no product comes out. And then also the spray that it provides is not as much of a fine mist as the full version. So that's the one thing I would say with this. I really wish they made the nozzle a bit better for the mini size. But let's go ahead and try the all-nighter spray. Okay, that also was not the best nozzle ever, but hopefully that works. Alrighty, so here we have the full final face of Sephora Bestsellers. What do you guys think? So I will say it's kind of interesting to me how this is a look that I pretty much never do. It's just like 100% very neutral, kind of like glam but natural looking at the same time. And I guess it makes sense that's sort of what the Sephora Bestsellers would give you. This is something that kind of everyone likes to have in their collection so they can whip out a very natural look if need be. I do actually have a lot of makeup on my face considering how natural it looks overall. In terms of evaluating the look at the moment, I think overall things are looking pretty nice. The one exception is I have been having some issues with all of these cheek products interacting. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, I have this like weird bald spot here where suddenly all of the product has like come off. I do tend to have an issue in that area. I don't really know why. It's quite annoying because it makes things look really patchy. I don't really have the same issue over here, but something about all of these products layered on top of each other on the skin just did not really work well in that area. I think, you know, having the foundation, then the powder, then the liquid contour, the powder bronzer, the powder blush, and then the cream blush, and then the setting powder, like that whole cocktail did not agree with my cheeks. And so yeah, it's hard to pinpoint exactly which product was the culprit there, but I did want to call that out. Everything else though I think is looking pretty good. Lips look great, eyes look fine, brows look fine. So would I do this kind of look again? Probably not, but I think it was fun to kind of dig through these products that are really popular at Sephora, because I would say that most of them I don't hate. Like the Rare Beauty highlighter I really just don't like, and the ABH Brow Freeze I really haven't been able to figure out how to use. But most of the products I can kind of understand why they're favorites. Now, are any of them really my favorites? Mostly not. I mean, the ones that were my favorites were the ones that I didn't really use in today's video, because today's video I wanted to focus on products I haven't shown you guys for a while, and there's a reason I haven't used those products for a while. But on the whole, this was helpful for me in terms of feeling less FOMO about the Sephora VIB sale, because revisiting the products in my collection that I already have and either already have in love and thus don't need more of, or really don't love, is kind of a good reminder of why you shouldn't just kind of get caught up with all the hype, because just because it's a bestseller doesn't actually mean that you're going to enjoy it that much. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to hear in the comments what you guys think about Sephora bestsellers and what you guys are planning on picking up in the Sephora VIB sale, if anything. I do plan on filming a video kind of showing you guys my haul. It probably won't be that big, but I am still excited to share with you guys what I pick up. So that's all for today's video, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!